Hey, what's going on, guys? Got a fun little review video for you guys today as we look at 3 new releases from Hasstel Toys, Grapplers and Gimmicks. Now, 2 of these figures that we are going to review today do come from Sherri Martel, and another one is of Kurt Fuller. Now, the first one we're actually going to look at, Kurt Fuller. Oddly enough, when I first looked at the figure, I did not realize who that was at first. Not until I actually got him in hand and realized, oh man, this is freaking amazing. Think about 1989 No Holds Barred. This was one of the wrestling promoters that tried to get Tiny Lister's Zeus character to beat up Rip Thomas, Hulk Hogan's character from the movie. And I'm like, that is freaking awesome. Now, freaking darn, what is it? Is it Wave 7, if I'm not mistaken? Mattel Retros. Is it Wave 7 or Wave 8? I want to say Wave 7. So Wave 7 is going to feature, I think, Elizabeth, and I think it's going to include Rip Thomas, and it's going to include Zeus. I think Sherri Martel is part of that wave. I could be wrong, but I know Zeus and Rip Thomas is definitely going to be in that wave. And including Brell's character to be added to that line as well. That is awesome. So to kind of have this figure right now kind of going in tune with that release. Now, it's still going to be a while before Mattel Retros releases that next wave, but still, that is fantastic timing. Now, we also get Sensational Sherri. Now, this is obviously during her time while managing Shawn Michaels, or you could also look at the variation of Queen Sherri while managing the Macho King, Randy Savage. So, I'm going to pivot real quick and look at the 2 Sherri figures. Now, before I start talking about Hasstel Toys, right, I want to mention this. So, Raheem Sadru, he is a customizer in the United Kingdom. And I've talked about his Hasbro accessories, and I brought him up on my channel a million times over the last few years. I think he has probably the greatest Hasbro accessory line imaginable. I always say you're going to have to pay up. I mean, they're not like crazy expensive or anything, but you want high quality accessories. Yeah, you're basically going to pay for, you want high quality items, you're going to pay up a little bit more. You pay for what you get, essentially. Among some of the items that he sells included Sherri Martel. I bring this up because there are so many customizers. They customize figures like you have your Sherri Martel. You have your Bastion Booger. You have your Big John Stud figures, right? And they do such amazing work, great detail, and all the time and effort they put into creating and customizing these figures. I really feel bad for a lot of these guys because they would probably sell these figures in a heartbeat. But what happens? Mattel Retros comes out and they release Big John Stud. Zombie Sailors comes out and they release their variant of Bastion Booger. Now you have Grapplers and Gimmicks coming out with their iterations of Queen Sherri. So that means that these guys who customize their own individual figures, they're not going to be able to sell their customs anymore. Why is someone going to go out and buy a custom figure when you can basically purchase the, quote, real thing from a regular brick and mortar store, from a legitimate business like Mattel, or from like your business like Hasstel Toys, right? Or from a business like Zombie Sailors, etc. So, and I really feel for these guys, because they do amazing work, and their figures would be a hot commodity if it weren't for these regular businesses releasing these figures. So, yeah, Raheem Sager, he had some amazing Queen Sherri figures available, and months ago he had them available for purchase. At the time, I really wanted them, but because they were such small individual pieces, I'm like, that's what kind of gave me pause. I didn't want to buy them, because a lot of these companies, they're still doing it to this day, and it's driving me insane. I get it. Females in general have smaller body types. They're smaller in size, in height. They're smaller in width, and you're not going to have... You really can't put a girl that's 5'3", 120 pounds, and basically put her as the same size as someone who's 6'6", 325. But you're looking at these figures, and they are just so minuscule. And I noticed this on my camera the last time I filmed. What did I just watch this morning? I watched the one with Matt Cardona, and these figures were coming up, and they were like so blurry. So I'm hoping that they don't come up super blurry on this video. But the still blurry. Sorry guys, I'm trying to see trying to give you a little bit better focus. There we go. Trying to get this detail so that you guys can actually see all the intricate details. So I don't think this was just around the time that she was managing Shawn Michaels. I think she may have been actually managing Ted DiBiase and possibly Rick Martel around the same time. I don't know. I don't remember if she was in white or black at the time she was managing Ted DiBiase, but she had quite a number of guys, major superstars, that she had under her tutelage as manager. So, but Sensational Sherri, yeah, she was something special, man. And I like this figure a lot because, of course, you got to give her freaking, Shawn Michaels. He is the pretty boy after all, right? So he's got to be able to sit there and look at himself. And then we've got Queen Sherri, and this is what I'm talking about in one of the last videos. Try and get the... Stop being blurry. Stop. Come on, catch. Catch. I'm waiting for this camera to stop being blurry and focus. Focus. Alright, so it's not focusing. Screw it. But they do have these little stencils. There we go. They do have these little stencils, which I'm starting to really appreciate on the bottom of the figures. I don't know if I necessarily appreciate one more than the other, but really tiny bodies. I like the fact that it doesn't really have feet, and with the dress kind of operating as kind of like a little cake top of sorts. I like that aspect. You never have to worry about this type of figure falling over, right? So I think I enjoyed that aspect. With a figure like this, because the feet are the way that it's shaped, this figure would never stand on its own. So I do appreciate the fact that Hasstel Toys does provide a stand in which the figure can be attached. So that helps immensely. And then we get Kurt Fuller. Now, he does come with a microphone, and right off the bat, that is a negative. As you could quickly see, the microphone is not situated in the hand tight at all. Extremely loose, and yeah, I don't like that. It's, you barely tap it. You can't really maneuver it very. Try and get a good spot for it. I might have to maneuver it to a point like right around there where it's kind of pressed up against his body. So the body and the hand is basically squishing it so that it doesn't fall out of his hand. I mean, theoretically, you would like to have it up against his face, right? So it kind of looks like he's talking into the microphone. But the way that it's so loose and just kind of falls out, no. You want it to be nice, be a nice firm grip in the hand. So that's that doesn't work for me. But other than that, you remove the accessory. It's a nice piece. I mean, not a super tall. Yeah, not even that works. But when he's staged on the shelf, I mean, it's going to be a non-movable figure, so that's not going to be really falling out anywhere. Like I said, I didn't realize who Kurt Fuller was when I first got the figure. It's just another addition to the collection. And not until I started right before I filmed this video, I looked at the card back and I looked at his face and I'm like, wait a minute. I know who that is. For whatever reason, I was kind of thinking he was like maybe a commentator, or kind of like Josh Chernoff or something like that. I didn't recognize the name. And sure enough, that's exactly who Kurt Fuller is. You know, he's an American actor. Been in plenty of things, but obviously 1989's No Holds Barred is the one thing that really stands out to me. You know, it's a fine figure. Very simple, just like any of your, your Premier Wrestling Josh Chernoff figures, or your Cella Toys / Epic Toys Josh Chernoff figures, or any of the other figures like that. So, but the highlight of this video is, of course, the Sherri Martel figures. And I do also want to turn these cards around so that we do kind of give a look at the back. So that you are allowed to see. So for Sensational Sherri in white, I'm still waiting on that Coco Beware to be released. That should be pretty awesome. And of course, we already got the British Bulldog. And who knows when the Macho Man is going to be doing. Probably, I would say first quarter 2025 most likely. And then the Kurt Fuller. Downtown Bruno. That's a new figure. I don't think we've ordered that one yet. That doesn't look familiar. It's again the Kurt Fuller. The Queen Sherri. I love her makeup. That is so awesome. And finally, Sensational Sherri. Alright, so that does make up for today's video. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye, everybody.